Hey, hey, hey. Hey, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in. It is Winning Wednesday. Are y'all ready for Winning Wednesday? I got some good stuff for you today. I'm so excited that you joined me here on this episode of Winning with Lisa, where we win, we win, we win. I'm Lisa L. McLean, the certified financial educator, guys, and I'm so happy that you are here with me today. Got some good stuff. This is the first week in July, and on the first week of the month, I come in and I talk about life topics. So on my YouTube channel, don't forget to go to YouTube. Click like, click share, subscribe to the channel, comment on these videos. I would love to get feedback and just engage with you. So my YouTube channel is Winning and Living Golden. And on that YouTube channel, I come in on the first week of the month and I talk about life. So we're teaching on life topics, just presenting information, resources, tools to help you to winning and living golden in your life. The second week we come back in, we're talking finances. That could be business finances, it could be personal finances. And then on the third week of the month, we come back in on that Winning Wednesday on my YouTube channel, and we're talking spirit. We want to help you grow, help you entrepreneurs, small business owners, nonprofits grow in your spirit. I really want to cater to the whole entrepreneur, the whole business owner. And then on the that fourth week of the month, we come back in and we're talking business stuff. So today is Life Topic Winning Wednesday. I'm so glad you're here with me today. And today's topic is control your thinking, change your life. Control your thinking, change your life. So I am in the process of reading a book. My new book for this month of July, my birthday month. I'm reading a book, and it's part of my transformational coaches program that I am a member of. And the name of the book is Soundtracks, The Surprising Solution to Overthinking, and it's by Jon Acuff. And so as I started reading this book, and I haven't even gotten past the first chapter, but I'm telling you, it's chocked full of some golden, y'all know that's my word, golden nuggets. So this book, and just reading some of the nuggets that I pulled away in that first chapter really sparked this topic for me today. Control your thinking, change your life. So you've heard it said, you are what you eat. Have you heard that? I'm sure you've heard that before. I've heard it over, the last 20, 30 years. Well, I want to take that same premise and say that you are what you think. You are what you think. Jon Acuff, he didn't say that per se, at least not yet in my reading, and I've only gotten through almost through chapter 1. But that is an idea that's come to me as a result of digesting some of his information so far. So that you are what you think. Life is what you think it is. You can do what you think, or you can do no more than what you think you can do. Our thoughts are so powerful. So don't let your thinking get so far gone that you can't reel yourself back in. I want to give us 3 points today. 3 points to help us in our thinking patterns. Help us to overcome that overthinking. Overcome those negative thoughts that we play in our mind. So how do we go about winning and living golden in our minds? That's what I want to focus on today. So my first point for today in controlling your thinking, changing your life, is to get rid of the stinking thinking. Y'all heard it. Y'all have heard it before. Get rid of the stinking thinking. Garbage in, garbage out. Okay, we got to get rid of this stinking thinking, the stinking thinking. If thoughts had smells, think about it. If thoughts had smells, had aromas to them, had aromas, scents assigned to them, where you had a bad scent when it was a bad, destructive, demeaning, unhelpful thought, a useless, defeatist, unproductive, belittling thought, and say it smelled like rotten eggs, right? While the good, healthy, conquering, edifying thoughts smell sweet, smell nice, like watermelon. That's one of my favorites. I used watermelon as my good thought fragrance here because I recently bought a new fragrance or a new scent for my wax melts. And so I have these wax melt warmers all throughout my house, all three levels of my home. I got one on every floor of my house. I got scent sprays, all kinds of stuff. I just love beautiful aromas and keeping my home just smelling heavenly. So that's precious to me. So if the smell is divine and it's delicious, right? The new scent that I just got is called sweet watermelon and buttercream, and it's made by Better Homes and Garden. But what if we could smell or even taste our thoughts? We would spit out those tastes that are foul to us, right? The ones that smell bad, that taste nasty. We wouldn't want to have anything to do with those thoughts, right? If the bad thoughts had a bad taste associated with it, we would pinch our nose and try to get away from that horrible smell, right? So if, say I'm riding in my car, which I love to do. Anyone who knows me knows that I love to drive. I can drive for hours. But I'm riding in my car and I come across this area as I'm driving that reeks of a foul smell, like a sewer treatment or something like that. Or maybe I passed a skunk on the road, or something like that. What's the first thing you do? The first thing I do is I push that button in my car to turn on the interior circulation so that it prevents that odor, that outdoor odor, from further infiltrating my interior cabin of my car. So we have to do this with our thoughts. We got to hit that button to prevent that thought from filling up our mind. Oh my goodness. Or in keeping with the driving the car example, for sake, when we are writing and playing the radio, we hear a song we don't like. What do? We turn the station. Right? We keep turning it until we find we come upon a song that moves us, that we want to hear, that we want to sing. And this is what we've got to do with our minds, guys. With the thoughts that enter our mind or attempt to enter our mind and want to plant themselves in our minds and stay there, we got to hit that button so that that odor, that smell of that thought does not infiltrate us. And we got to change that station of that song that's trying to play in our mind. Change the station. Turn the station on our thoughts. We've got to get rid of this stinking thinking. And when we change the station, we are doing what? We're replacing that song with a different song, right? So that leads me to my next point. Point number 2. Replace the bad negative thought with a good positive thought. Right? So I learned to replace my thoughts many, many years ago. This was actually therapy that I learned in my early 20s. For those who are close to me, you know that I suffered from depression in my early 20s. For almost 10 years. I was married to my kid's father, my first husband. And as a part of my therapy, my counseling, I started seeing mental health professionals. I was 22 when I got married the first time to my kid's dad, and the one of the very first mental health professionals that I went to recommended this book because I was so afraid to take medicine. I didn't want to take any antidepressants. I didn't know how it was going to make me feel, change my mind, my body. And so he recommended this book. And when I tell you that I still have this book to this day, I couldn't find my actual book because I know I have it, but I have a whole library. I have to show you guys the picture of my library of all my books. But I printed this out so you could see it. And the book is Feeling Good. Feeling Good by Dr. David D. Burns. He's an MD. And I read this book in the mid 90s, soon after I got married and started going through depression and everything. And this book changed, no, my implementation of what the book taught me changed my life. More than 50,000 mental health professionals attend the popular training programs of Dr. David D. Burns. And he also has a Feeling Good podcast that has millions, over 3 million subscribers. And this best-selling book has sold over 4 million copies worldwide. It's rated #1 out of a list of 1,000 books as the most frequently recommended self-help book for depression. So I know what I'm talking about, guys, when I tell you I know what these thoughts do. These thoughts come to destroy. They're not coming to build you up. And so we've got to get rid of the stinking thinking, right? That was point #1. And we've got to replace the bad negative thought with a good positive one. And that is what I learned to do in reading that book, Feeling Good. There was all just interwoven throughout the book was talking about, looking at every thought that attempts to enter your mind and replace it immediately. Replace that thought. And so I'm grateful for learning about that book. And, I just wanted to share that, to let you know I'm a real person. We go through stuff. Everybody go through stuff. But this stuff is real. And we have tools at our disposal that we can use to help us. And it starts with our thinking. So yes, you can overcome your overthinking, your negative thoughts. We can replace our bad thoughts with good ones. And yes, it does take effort, but it can be done. And it took me some years, and I did end up having to take medication. And I literally was dealing with depression for almost 10 years of my life, until I got out of that marriage. But after I got out of the marriage, dear God, I was, early 30 and hadn't taken any antidepressants, hadn't had any feelings of depression or anxiety or anything like that ever since. But I'm grateful for me choosing to help myself by going to the therapist, all of the therapists I saw, by taking the medicine, by reading the books, by getting the tools that I needed to help myself. And so, I became so much better and so much stronger on my own. The author of the book, Soundtracks, Jon Acuff, he implies that we often associate our thoughts with helplessness. So he mentions that, we say sometimes these little, phrases like, I got lost in my thoughts, or my thoughts, I got carried away in my thoughts, or my thoughts ran away with me, as if to say that we have no control over our thoughts. But we do. We do, guys. We can control our thinking. Those thoughts that say to us, those thoughts that try to enter our mind that tell us I'm not good enough, or they don't like me, or I'm not good at this or that, or just I am no good. How many children have grown up and hurting and broken and unhealed parents telling the child you're no good, or you're going to be no good like so and so. That kind of stuff, those kind of thoughts are what we want to make sure that we are arresting at its entry point. My hair is ugly, or I don't like my body, or I'm not pretty. I won't get that job. I won't get that promotion. They'll choose somebody else. Or I can't start that business. Stop the soundtrack playing in our minds. Stop that personal playlist that's playing in your mind. Get rid of the stinking thinking and replace those negative, destroying, destructive thoughts with good, positive, healthy thoughts that will help edify you and build you up. Negative thoughts stay on our mind and repeat. Have you ever noticed that? When you get a negative thought in your mind and you allow it to stay there, it just keeps going over and over and over and over, and it just becomes a part of who you are. And we want to arrest that. We want to stop that in its tracks. Negative memories are also the easiest to summon and to remember and to retain. Do you feel what I'm saying? We can have the happiest memories and they're so beautiful, and the negative ones are at our fingertips. It's almost like it just happened yesterday, and it's so easy to remember and to recall. So yeah, we're up against the wall. We're up against the natural tendency to rest on negative thoughts, but we can knock that wall down. We can command our minds, guys. We can choose good thoughts and good memories to replace the bad ones. So rein in those thoughts and replace them with good. And this leads me to my last point. The Bible tells us like this. It says, point number 3, take every thought captive. Take every thought captive. This means gaining control over what you think about yourself and about your life. Why? Because if we don't, that one little thought can take over, multiply, domino, and have such a huge and horrible impact on our worldview, our mental health, and our actions, or our lack of action. The Bible tells us that a little leaven leavens the whole lump, a lump of bread, like a loaf. So Paul there is using this metaphor to emphasize the rampant effects that false doctrine and false teachings and how they will quickly spread and infiltrate the hearts and minds of believers until the whole is contaminated. So even the smallest amount of leaven is so powerful. You don't need a lot to make the bread rise. And it's the same with our thoughts. A little bad thought can corrupt your whole morning, your whole day, your whole week, your life. It really can, if you let it. Someone ever planted something in your mind, or do you know someone who's had something planted in their mind, and it affected how you lived, or it affected how they lived, or how you saw yourself, or how they saw themselves from that point on until you grew and you developed and you became strong enough in your mind to challenge that thought? Their thought about you became your thought about you. I recently posted a video of me dancing in my home, and I mentioned in that post that when I was young, when I was a little girl, my mom, my cousins, they all told me I couldn't dance. They told me I was stiff, which I agree, I am stiff. To this day, I'm still stiff. That was evident. But they told me I couldn't dance. And because of that, what they told me at that young, impressionable age, I labeled myself as a bad dancer. And then as a result, I would go to dances. I wanted to be around friends and people and everyone having fun, and I love music. But I would go to dances and be on the wall. I'd be holding up the wall, y'all, on the wall, chilling. But I was scared to dance. And as I got older and got into college and going to weddings, up into my 20s, I was scared to dance. I might do a little, two-step to move to the side. Hey, move. But I was horrified to dance because in my mind, I was a horrible dancer. I didn't look good doing it, and I could not dance. And that was planted at a young age. It had been set on repeat in my mind. It had dominoed and snowballed from that tiny little thought, that tiny little amount of leaven, to a huge loaf in my mind until I changed the station one day. I smelled and I tasted that thought that had been planted in my mind and that I had accepted. And I realized just how horrible it tasted and it smelled. I realized that that thought did smell like that sweet watermelon and buttercream max melting wax that I bought. I had to stop the record that was playing in my mind on repeat. I was riding along in life and I smelled that foul odor, that foul thought, and I pushed that button. I pushed the button in my mind to prevent that odor from further penetrating, and I changed the song on the station to a new song. My new song, my new thought is I love to dance. I love to move. I have always had natural rhythm. And that it's something natural. You can learn rhythm, but I've always had it. And you know, I'm a pretty good dancer, if I might say so myself. And so now, because I've opened up and I've freed myself from that negative thought, and I've opened my mind to the possibility of something different than what that thought was telling me. Now I Chicago step, I salsa, I soul line dance, right? That's what I was doing in the post that I posted a few weeks ago. And there's like, gosh, I probably know 40 different dances to line dance songs, and there's hundreds of them. So I'm still building my repertoire. But I swing out dance. I learned Carolina Shag, and I'm also going to pick back up with bachata here soon. But I began to think like the Bible tells me to, on whatever is lovely, whatever is pure, just, honorable, true, commendable, and of a good report. Think on these things. But I had to take that first step. I had to first take that thought captive and then replace it with the good stuff. But imagine all of the fun, my love for dancing, the joy, and frankly, great exercise that I missed out on all those years because I let that tiny little thought rule me and rule my actions and my image of myself. If only I had taken the thought captive in the beginning, at its entry point. But it's arrested now. And the thought is arrested now, and I am dancing all the time. I'm dancing somewhere at least twice a week, y'all. And I'm loving it, having the time of my life dancing. You know, those negative thoughts can keep you from some of the greatest joys of your life. And for many years, if you let it. So don't you let it happen. So what's the big idea? We've got to control our thinking. We can control our thinking. And when we control our thinking, we change our lives. When we get rid of that stinking thinking by assigning the aromas and taste to our thoughts, when we change the station and the song that's playing on repeat in our mind, and we replace that song with a new song, and when we take captive every thought, we free ourselves. We free ourselves to experience life in a way that we never imagined possible. We free ourselves to no longer be inhibited and kept from things that will ultimately bring us so much joy in our lives. So as In Vogue told us, free your mind and the rest will follow. Free your mind, guys. Control your thinking. Change your lives. I hope this information, the resources, the knowledge has been helpful. I know it's been a blessing to me, and I'm so grateful that you continue to show up. Thank you for showing up and being here with me on my YouTube channel, Winning and Living Golden, and on my episodes of Winning with Lisa, where we win, we win, we win. And I will see y'all back here next time. Take care till then. Control your thinking, change your life. Love you guys. Bye.